for the past 3 weeks, I've been negotiating the purchase of my brand new car. And I've been doing so with many car dealerships. And I noticed a few things. One, things are different up here in Canada than they are in the United States. I know this because I watched a show Delivered by Tommy Mikula, Mikula. If you know the channel, you know why I'm saying that. But it's very different up here, first and foremost, and I'll tell you how along the way. Even in Canada, you're still gonna get some tricks by salesmen. They're still gonna flat out lie to you. And I'll tell you about some of my experiences and how to deal with those. So I'm gonna go back to the inside of my vehicle where I'm safe, because I'm quite frankly tired of being at car dealerships. So to start off, the first thing I did is obviously identify what vehicle I wanted. So now did you know which vehicle I bought? Obviously, I was looking for a Chevrolet Equinox EV. More specifically, I was looking for a Chevrolet Equinox EV, all-wheel drive, 2LT. I wanted a 2024. Why? Obviously, 2024 has had a better interest rate, had 0% interest rate, more rebates to offer, and you know they're gonna be more motivated to get rid of that vehicle. So right there, I identify, okay, so I'm targeting all the Chevrolet dealerships between here where I live, Quebec City, and all the way to Ontario. We're talking Ottawa and surrounding areas. I've identified my area of operations. That's where you start calling. Who's got the vehicle you're looking for, first and foremost? Not as easy to do when you're living in an area that is very pro EV, giving lots of rebates. We're talking about $12,000 in rebates for electric vehicles. So they're flying off the shelf. And an Equinox is very affordable, so it's even more flying off the shelf. And all-wheel drive with, entry-level trim, even more difficult. So that's what I started realizing. When you're shopping at the end of the year, yes, you can get bigger deals. Everybody knows that. Or if you don't, yes, this is the time of year that dealerships want to move the metal even more, right? They will, especially if it's a 2024 and you're about to enter 2025. But you have to be open to the fact that your vehicle may not be there. You waited till the end of the year. That's just one of the things that might happen. And I understood that. And when I started realizing that finding the particular vehicle I wanted was going to be difficult, or actually almost impossible, I could barely find. I called a lot of dealerships, and dealerships were trying to find that model for me. Some dealerships didn't even try. So that's the first thing I noticed is, one, not every salesman will give you good quality service. They'll just tell you, yeah, they'll have it in inventory, and just like that would be the end of the conversation. And I think that's relative to the fact that for the past few years, these guys have been spoon-fed their food and just basically haven't had to hunt for their meals, really. They just order taking, and here's the bill, and they pay, and I get commission. That's great, but you'll notice that a lot of them are just plain old lazy. I have met some good ones, and I'm going to mention them in this video. Before I go on, one of the big differences between Canada and US, especially where I am, and the reason why you're not going to see any recordings of conversations is because Tommy in the United States can do that. Over here, I cannot. I can record in public settings what's going on. I can record from the outside of the dealership because it's not, private property, what's going on. But as soon as I'm recording conversation without the approval of the people I'm talking to, I'm infringing on their rights, and I cannot record conversation. So that's why I don't have that footage, and I didn't take that footage because I believe in people's rights. But I tell you, this is how it broke down. If you have any questions as well, if you're negotiating in this area, of Canada where I am, feel free to either email me on the channel. The email address is obviously in the info of the channel, or you can reach me on Instagram as well, and I'll just put these details down here. But let's carry on. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because I forget to tell you guys that, and I really need you to. Moving on, a lot of bad salesmen out there. And some tricks they'll try to play with you that I've noticed is one, financing is key, right? We all know that in today's age, cash is no longer king because they get kicked back out of financing. But I had at least one representative, and I won't name the area, but it was around the Quebec area, and he told me, and I was talking about the, interest rates and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, and I can pay this loan off at any given point. He's like, yes, but if you pay it off within the first 3 months, you'll have a penalty fee. That is a lie. Every car loan in Canada is open loans and can be paid off at any given point without any penalty fee and any kind of penalty. So he flat out lied. Why would he do that? Because after 3 months of you paying that car loan, they get their kickback from the banks. You need to know this, all right? You can pay off your loan at any given point. Boom. Month one, 0 interest paid. Boom. I can pay off my loan. I don't have to tell anybody I'm going to do it. I just have to call the bank and say, hey, pay the remaining of the loan. That is one of the first tricks that I did not appreciate. Second, I've already mentioned that, some of the salespeople are kind of lazy, but one thing you have to understand, and you see this in Tommy's videos as well, is the salespeople are not always looking out to make a sale and have discounts. They will actually actively sometimes block you or flat out lie to you that they're going to the manager. They're actually not going to the manager. They're just getting back to you in a day or so, telling you, yeah, sorry, no deal. And the reason is because they don't want their commission to go down. The sales manager is actually the person you want to talk to, however hard that may be, but he's the one you really need to get a hold of when you're talking about negotiations. Because salespeople, they don't care if the dealership moves that metal, if the dealership is paying interest on that particular vehicle. All they care about is their bottom line, and some do care about customer satisfaction. And I'm going to give a shout out right now to some of the good salespeople I've had. Here in Quebec City, Sylvain, he knows who he is. And if you want to reach out to, if you're looking for a General Motors product and you're in Quebec City and you don't want to negotiate outside this Quebec City area, Sylvain actually treated me very well. Did some follow-ups because a lot of salespeople will just not follow up with you at all and just, that will be the end of it. But Sylvain will actually go to bat for you. However, he was limited with what his bosses could do. So contact me if you're looking for that, and I'll give you his contact. I'll get you in touch with him. Also, in Hawkesbury, Ontario, where I actually ended up buying this vehicle, but we'll get to that. Vicky, extremely friendly. Like, at some point, I thought she didn't really care about her commission at all by how she was so openly negotiating on my behalf with her eye up. So Vicky from Hawkesbury, if you're in Ontario, anywhere in Ontario, it is worth to drive to Hawkesbury, Ontario to be dealt with Vicky, because she will absolutely take good care of you. She's been doing this for ages. Not that she's old, but she's been doing this for a long time. But moving on. These are the good ones. The other ones is you have to know the difference between manufacturer rebates and dealership rebates. Now, I've recently done an interview with General Motors general manager of a dealership in Ontario, and he openly admitted that now, in the last few weeks, they've actually started dealer rebates. Now, in the States, sure, some of you guys have been doing it for a while, but for here, it's been rare to not existent, and now we're finally seeing it. I mean, we're talking about inventory. So when that video comes up, so like, subscribe, press that alert button so you know when that video comes up, and you'll know the inside scoop on Outsider Reviews. But you got to know the difference. There's a big difference. Because I've had a dealership in this area tell me, boom, you know what? This vehicle over here, it was a 2025 Equinox EV LT, but it was they were being used as a loaner vehicle. So basically, you got some rebates coming out. And the salesperson there tried to sell me like, this is the best deal you're ever going to get. I've never seen a deal like this. And I bluntly replied to him, you must not have been around for very long. And that kind of threw him off a little bit. But the thing is, what he might not have known is that the rebates they were giving me was not his dealerships. When you're getting a vehicle that has a certain amount of kilometers that's being used as a loaner or as a or demo vehicle, there's certain levels of discounts according to how many kilometers they've had. So if it has over 3,000 kilometers or 3,500 kilometers, you get a 4% discount. So they were throwing a 4% discount. They were throwing an extra $500 off, but none of that came from the dealership. And he was selling it as if they are giving me the deal of a century, when really I'm still getting MSRP. This is a demo vehicle with over 3,000 kilometers, hence 4% kickback from General Motors. And the $500 for the holidays. Yes, the $500 for the Hero because I'm military, or I was military. Yes. So far, I have not dug into their pockets at all. And then we talked about my trade-in, and he did the one mistake that turned me off from buying a vehicle from him is he lowballed me. I was completely open. So first of all, be open with your deal, with your salesperson, and you'll see what kind of person you're going to be dealt with. Just assess what they're doing. And if it's not within the parameters you want to be, you don't want a forthcoming person, somebody's going to go bad for you, or, honest salesman, which is, sounds ridiculous now I'm saying it out loud, but you just don't deal with them. There's plenty of them out there. Go out, broaden your horizon like I did. I was willing to travel 5 hours to go get this particular vehicle. And you've got to know these different prices. So far, I had calculated your dealership has given me nothing, zero, nada, not a single discount. And then you lowball me on my trade-in because I told them this dealership, 30 minutes away from his, had evaluated my car, looked at it, not just out of, over the telephone. If they look at it, they assess it, and you have a number, that is the number you go by until you get a higher number. And then that's the number you go by for your trade-in. Okay. So I had $3,000 and he said, we're willing to give you $2,300. Right there, that's when he lost me. Because you don't undercut somebody who already has a set value on his vehicle. You just don't. People sometimes will over-evaluate their vehicle, but once it gets evaluated by an outside source, another dealership willing to pay that money, so you have another dealership willing to pay the money, don't settle for something lower than that. Because at this point, it's not you over-evaluating your vehicle, your personal vehicle. It's the, wholesale value that's been evaluated by another evaluator. Another thing that consumers need to be extremely aware of, especially here in Canada, we've already talked about loans are open and all that stuff. Don't even discuss how you're going to pay it till you finalize an MSRP. It's up. But one thing I noticed, especially about Canada, is you can negotiate over the phone. Now, you see Tommy over in the United States, and they keep telling him presence is power, and he has to fight with them for that. And that is the one big difference I noticed between here and the United States is everybody was very apt to negotiating and sending price sheets via text and via phone. I was negotiating via text, via email, and via phone calls and everything, and I had no pushbacks for that. So feel free to do that, and that opens up your area, right? You don't have to travel somewhere to negotiate. You can just do it over the phone. I highly recommend you do it over the phone, via text, and all that stuff. And to get those price sheets. I have a friend right now in Alberta who's negotiating. I'm walking him through that, and he's using his principles. He's already got like a couple $1,000s knocked off. So, Brandon, keep doing the good work. Don't be afraid to walk out. Negotiate over the phone. Negotiate via text. You don't have to be in at the dealerships. You don't want to be there anyways until it's time to sign on the dotted line on an agreed price. So get those price sheets and send them to other dealerships. Which is going to bring me to my point of why I ended up traveling so far. Well, Quebec, as I mentioned, they get $12,000 off in rebates for their EVs. EVs are very scarce here, and everybody knows they're going to sell. So they're selling it at MSRP. And one thing that I caught on some dealerships, now a couple were pretty open with it, and this is the line they were saying, like, because you have invoice price and all that stuff. And I was kind of asking what invoice price, and they would come back with saying, well, The MSRP is actually the price we pay for these vehicles. That statement is actually true. But what follows after that is the crucial part. If nothing follows after that, then they are misleading you, because yes, on the Chevy Equinox, the dealership pays the MSRP to get the vehicle. However, they get a certain percentage kickback depending on which trim it is, but up to like 4% almost back from the manufacturer. So yeah, but you're getting a 4% back. So let's negotiate. There's room here, all right? This is what I'm telling you. And this is not stuff that's common knowledge at all, but depends. If you have a salesman who tells you, well, I'd love to give you a discount, but then I'll lose money because we pay the MSRP on electric vehicles, we really don't make anything. No, you do. You make a certain kickback from General Motors after the fact. You also get kickback from financing and all that stuff. There's room. Don't let anybody convince you there's not. So I brought in my area because, okay, Quebec, everything's selling and nobody's really willing to negotiate. Sure, $500 here, $500 there. There was not much big movement. So I went to Ottawa and I emailed Ottawa and I sent them the price sheet that I've already gotten from the Hawkesbury dealership, which was already giving me a very good discount. And I said, here you go. I have a price and can you beat it? And they just simply replied, and this was actually one of the managers there. For this vehicle you're looking at, this is the price. And he just quoted me the MSRP. And that right there shuts me off completely. Like, if you're a dealership person, you're watching this video, don't just do that. People want to feel valued. People want to feel, taken care of, and that you have their best interest at heart, even though we all know you don't. You have your pocket line at heart, but that's how we want to feel, right? And coming back and forth, I had a great deal around here. Ottawa was reluctant to negotiate as well, and I had a Hawkesbury deal. Now, Hawkesbury didn't have the vehicle I was looking for. They had only the RS trim. Why didn't I want the RS trim? I'll go over that when I talk about this particular vehicle. I'll do a walk around view and all that stuff. All in all, the RS has a lot of flashy stuff, but when you're looking at the guts of it, it's essentially the same as an LT. There's not much differences. I didn't want the extra. I don't care about heads-up display. I don't care about dual zone climate control. I don't care about the passenger, power adjustment on the seats. I don't care about the aesthetics of it on the outside, the blackout portion. And I specifically don't care about the 21-inch wheels. I actually have 17s right now for my winter tires, and it's a lot more comfortable of a ride. I digress. We're not here to talk about the car, but they only had an RS, but they were just talking to me, making me feel valued, coming back and forth, just having that discussion with the consumer will have you make a sale. It's a make or break. As for sales for a customer, if you just say, well, that's the price, I don't really care if I walk out. I don't want somebody that doesn't really care about me or appears not to care about me. And Hawkesbury Chevrolet ended up caring about me. And which brings me here in Hawkesbury, Ontario, precisely Hawkesbury Chevrolet. And the reason why I'm here is for what I've talked about. If you go somewhere where a particular vehicle is very popular and they're selling like hotcakes, chances of you getting mad deals like you see on Tommy's channel Delivered are going to be slim to none. Do what Tommy does, right? He broadens his search nationwide. However, in Canada, a little bit different. I am going to talk to a general manager to discuss some of the differences in Canada, what you can and can't do. Watch out for that video to come down the line. But in Quebec, mad sales for EVs. I've tried negotiating with all these dealerships in Quebec. Tried a lot of them, small town ones, big town ones, it didn't matter because they have that $12,000 rebate. They're selling like hotcakes. They're very popular. Quebec, like I've said in previous video, very cheap energy, very cheap electricity. So it makes sense that they're so popular, but it also makes sense that all these other dealerships are not giving you those deals, right? Skip over to Ontario. For every 7 EV that Quebec sells, Ontario sells 1, and Ontario has a way bigger population than Quebec, so what gives? Well, that's what gives. They have the rebates, Ontario does not, but you can jump on a border town like this in Hawkesbury, Ontario, buy it here, they will register it to Quebec because it's right next door. They just go knocking on the door. Hey, I'd like to register the car here. They get it certified there, they drive over, get it safetied, they register in Quebec, and the deal breaker is this: you will get that rebate. You get that $7,000 rebate up until 2025 anyways, by a mail-in. So you get a check, right? So hey, do what I do. Put it on your credit card, $7,000 of that deposit on my credit card. I get points, I get cash back, win-win. And then by the time the credit card bill comes in, I have that check from the government and cash it in and pay that off. And it's like nothing happened except I got some more cash back with my credit card. But I'm not here to talk about finances, I'm talking about car deals. But that is a trick that I've picked up, because I don't blame the Quebec dealerships for not being able to match the deals that I was able to get in this particular place, because they're selling really popular. However, there also is something to be said about small towns, because I also contacted Ottawa, another Ontario town. You might know it, capital of Canada, no big deal. But I contacted them and they just said, no, this is the price is the price. So a bigger population, not as hungry to perhaps negotiate with you. And to be honest, we just want to feel valued, right? So somebody who's willing to talk with me, somebody who's willing to discuss with me and see what my wants are, instead of just saying that's the price. And which I've noticed quite a bit from dealerships and salespeople altogether. That being said, I got immensely good service from here, to the point where I had found my car that I wanted closer to home. Like, we're talking like 4 hours closer than here. And it was at an acceptable price. I wouldn't say beat it, but I called back this place and say, you know what, I'm very sad because they have the color, they have everything I want, but I don't want to buy it from them. I want to buy it from you guys, because you guys are working with me the whole time. You're calling me back. And this other place kind of said, well, this is the price, this is what we're going to do. And if you have a better price somewhere, then go over there. So I felt better value coming here as a customer. I felt more valued, sorry. And that just means a lot to me. Let me know in the comment below if it means a lot to you. So in conclusion, yes, I bought this vehicle at something that would be classified as invoice or below invoice. No, I cannot tell you. That's how good of a deal I got. I cannot tell you exactly how much I paid, because then you guys would all be flocking to Hawkesbury Chevrolet to get that same deal. And well, at that point, they would be losing money. I'll just be blatantly honest. So yes, but if there's deals to be had right now in this current economic segment, and of all the dealers that I've talked to some in Montreal, I've talked to some obviously in Quebec City, anywhere in between, here and there, including Ottawa, and a small town dealership was the one to treat me the best. Could have been because it's that small time vibe. Could be because it's not a mass volume dealer. Could be because their trade-ins get sold directly to the United States without any third party. And right now our Canadian dollar is absolutely in the toilet. So they actually make more money when they get paid with those US dollars. There could be a lot of factors involved for this. But I can tell you that I was very happy with the deal I got. And I was very surprised by how little movement there was from all these other dealerships, especially from the big city ones, the big volume ones. We sell the most in this area, yet, you know what? That doesn't really translate into you getting a better deal. So go see that small town dealership. Don't skip over it. You know what? They'll treat you a lot like family. And that's what ended up happening with Hawkesbury. And I was just, you know what? At the end of the day, even if it would have been the same price, I probably would have ended up going there just because of how they made you feel. So salespeople, take notes of this, okay? And finally, when I mentioned that you need to talk to the sales manager, you absolutely do. If you're going to take any key takeaways is here, salespeople never have your best interest. They don't absolutely want to make a sale. They don't care about the dealership. Sales manager, they're the ones that give you all the deals. Even when you watch Delivered, and you watch Tommy work, it's this managers that are giving him his discounts the majority of the time, if not all the time. So try to bypass the salesperson, try to go to the manager, and always tell them, I'm buying right now. Right now. I'm not shopping for a month or two down the line. They don't really care about that right now. Right effing now is when I'm buying. You need to make that clear. You need to tell them, and you need to know the differences between a manufacturer discount and a dealer discount and what those are. And at the end of the day, if you have any questions, like comment below or message me, email me, reach out for me on Instagram. I don't really care. I'm such a small channel that I will try to help you guys out as best I can. And with that, please like and subscribe so I can keep doing this and enjoy engaging you guys. All right. It's been very cool doing this journey right now for this YouTube journey. I'm having a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate you guys watching this channel. I don't care if you have negative things to say. I usually engage back anyways. I don't try to ignore anybody. I'll talk to you guys later.